Hi there, I'm Zach Kircher, and you're watching Kircher Talks Entertainment. You know what one of the worst parts of being a fan of something is? Seeing something you love get absolutely destroyed by a Hollywood studio. I'm a Star Wars fan after all.
Wait a minute, how did this happen? We're smarter than this.
But as much as I would love to make another Star Wars rant, that horse has been beaten to death so badly that I'm numb to the pain. No, today I am talking about a different fandom, one that I discovered much later in my life but still has left a big impact on me, that being Avatar: The Last Airbender. Specifically, I'm talking about it in light of the new movie on Paramount Plus called Avatar: Aang: The Last Airbender. Very creative title, guys. Before getting into my thoughts on the movie, I need to set the stage a bit though. I was the prime age to experience this show when it first aired on Nickelodeon. The problem is that when it originally aired from 2005 to 2008, my parents didn't have cable. As fate would have it, they got it pretty much as soon as the show was done. So, that's reason number one why I never got swept up in the hype as a kid. But in the years since then, I simply just never got into it. Needless to say, once Avatar: The Last Airbender got put on Netflix during the pandemic, I finally took a chance on it and realized what I had been missing over the past, 15 or so years up to that point. It also made me hate M. Night Shyamalan's abominable movie adaptation more than I already had. But once I was done watching the show, that was it for me. I was left fully satisfied with the ending, given that it had tied up enough loose ends to where I felt like my investment over 60-something episodes was worth it. I felt no need to watch The Legend of Korra, which I still haven't watched, or read any of the comics for that matter. That's why when I eventually read the announcement about a movie being developed around Team Avatar in their mid-20s, I was immediately skeptical of it. Sure, the idea of meeting up with these characters once they're older sounded pretty cool on paper, but realistically, I didn't think that this could ever be anywhere near as satisfying as the original show. The finale is pretty much as perfect of an ending as you could hope for in a fantasy adventure TV series, so what value would there be in revisiting that story other than getting a taste of them sweet member berries?
Remember Chewbacca again, member? Oh, I remember.
Oh, I remember.
Well, I watched the movie, so I can answer that question for you. And, yeah, member berries are pretty much all this movie offers. Okay, that's not entirely true. If you want a movie with absolutely sumptuous hand-drawn animation, this movie friggin' delivers. That's probably the biggest element that we lost from this being relegated to a streaming-only release by Paramount, for these visuals would have been lovely to see on a massive theater screen. Whatever the animators were paid to bring their lovely artwork to life, it wasn't anywhere near enough because the animation does a terrific job at elevating the scope and grandeur of this world that people have loved for over 20 years. As great as the show was, the film accomplishes a sense of enormity and scale to the action scenes that wasn't there before, even with such epic sequences as the Battle of the Northern Water Tribe or the final Agni Kai between Zuko and Azula. Having seen and felt the scale of large animated fights with the Demon Slayer Infinity Castle movie in IMAX last year, that just makes this movie's fate sting even more. And yet, as cool as the fights in this movie were, I would be willing to bet that most people remember Avatar: The Last Airbender because of all the characters and their interactions with each other, whether they be exchanges of funny banter or emotionally charged moments. It's here where Avatar Aang utterly failed to win me over, for honestly, I don't think it does much to build on the original story or further develop the characters. Perhaps it was a tall order to expect this movie to do all of that, considering that, as I said earlier, the show tied up pretty much all of its loose ends, aside from maybe Zuko wanting to find his mom. To start a new story with these same characters requires finding some kind of excuse to bring them together after so long. That excuse comes in the form of Aang discovering another lost airbender named Taga, who informs him that there's a staff somewhere that could grant power to non-benders and thereby restore the air nomad civilization. Sure, fine. That gives Aang a reason to get Team Avatar back together. On a surface level, I enjoyed some aspects of the old crew getting back together for another adventure. The scene where Aang's message to Zuko is read aloud in court was funny. Toph being her usual, Toph self was also enjoyable. The same could also be said for the rest of the characters really, for despite being aged up to their mid to late 20s, the gang still feels close to their show personalities. I cherished all of the little moments of banter between them because of that. And yet, that's the thing. There are only fleeting moments of recreating the tone of the original, let alone genuine character building moments. The film moves from scene to scene so quickly that there aren't many chances to just breathe and soak in anything. As if there was really much you could soak in though. I mean, this is a movie of very high energy that overcompensates for a story that has nothing really meaningful for its characters to do. Here, the characters are either flanderizations of who we knew them to be in the show, Toph and Sokka in particular, or in Aang's sense, as a very oversimplified retread of his arc over the course of the entire show. That's not to say that these are bad characters, I mean, they're great ones. To feature them in this movie, though, only serves the purpose of bringing the nostalgia and not actually doing something compelling or interesting with them. For some, simply seeing these characters acting together again may be enough to enjoy the movie, and that's fine if that is the case. For me, though, I see no point in needlessly continuing a finished, complete story if you don't have legitimate reason to do so. I know I'm holding this movie to a high standard by saying that, but really, trying to build upon the legacy of the highest rated animated series on IMDb and then compact all of their ideas into a 99-minute runtime was just not enough to flesh this out into something special. It's safe, highly predictable, especially with how the story introduces and utilizes its villain, and it can be entertaining at times, but it's ultimately a hollow attempt at blowing the dust off of a beloved IP. While it's far from offensive to the fandom, at least in my opinion, it doesn't innovate or really push the story forward either. Sometimes I'd honestly rather take a bad movie of consequence rather than a mediocre one of no consequence, since at least in the prior example, that means there's something to talk about, which leads me to my overarching point. Can we just leave these franchises alone? For once, I just want a story to be over and done with. I'm tired of these arrogant Hollywood studios thinking that just because they reboot a beloved property, that people will come eat it up like they're pigs gobbling up slop from a trough. Yes, a lot of people will eat that up, and I'm part of the problem since I watched the darned thing, but at least I canceled my Paramount Plus the very same day. The more that Hollywood keeps trying to pump out these revivals of old beloved shows, or make unnecessary legacy sequels to classic movies, the less I'm inclined to pay them any heed. Some of them, like Top Gun Maverick, turn out very well, but a movie like that is the exception, not the rule. We should crave after genuinely new experiences rather than only spend our time and money on that which rehashes old ideas like this movie does. I made a whole video about that, so feel free to watch that. I'm not going to retread any of my thoughts on that here, but a movie like Avatar Aang that unfortunately exists as just very pretty but hollow content is not what cinema should be. Putting the whole streaming service release controversy and the online leak aside, our time and money is worth more than this. I've seen worse legacy sequels for sure, but even so, we need to keep demanding Hollywood to do better. It may hurt to ignore new stories from franchises that you love, but realistically, if you want something genuinely new, then you have to reject what's being offered to you when it comes to reheating stuff that you've already tried before. Don't bother with movies like this or any of those, for it will only make you yearn for the good old days, and Hollywood will keep making movies like this so long as they keep selling tickets and you drive up engagement. Let them fail, and then Hollywood will be forced to do something more original. Anyway, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider giving it a like and subscribe to the channel. For doing both of those things really does help my channel grow, and I will see you all in the next one.